Hi, my name is Joanna Whitney. I am an intuitive artist and a student of natural law, and I'm going through the document by C.T. Butler and Amy Rothstein called On Conflict and Consensus, a handbook on formal consensus decision making, because I feel that it is a vehicle for practical application of natural law in group decision making. And I'm in chapter 3 right now, reviewing the principles that a group has to agree on in order to be able to practice formal consensus. And last time I did self-empowerment, but upon further reflection, I realized that it needs more attention, especially now in this age of extreme disempowerment by our government through the vehicle of a scamdemic that locked us down and separated us from our friends and family, and the amount of fear that they put into us through social media channels, controlled opposition, constant FUD porn, fear, doubt, and I can't remember the U, always forget the U one. So self-empowerment is required in order to practice formal consensus. And what that means is self-empowerment. So I'm going to think about this for a minute in terms of a worker cooperative, which some people think maybe is an extreme form of socialism, but I look at it as an extreme form of freedom where each worker owner takes the responsibility of the running of the business as if it's their own business. And so they go that extra mile. They don't leave anything for anyone else to do because they are the owner. And so if there's like 5 or 6 owners or more in the business, you soar to new heights with that kind of attitude, with each person taking that kind of ownership. Looking at my inalienable right to self-ownership, I decide what goes in my body and what goes on my body. So that was completely violated in the last few years with the mask mandates and the jab mandates. And for myself, I had to confront my own trauma that I had not yet worked through when I was faced with, do I wear a mask to get food? I needed food, but I wasn't going to put on a mask to get it. And then I watched all these different crazy things people did to get what they wanted, like wearing that mask around their chin or wearing the mask under their nose or wearing it hanging from their ear. I mean, all those things to me are self-disempowerment actions, because if I own my body, then I just don't have to do that. And so I'm just going to take a moment to just really look at this paragraph, because I know all of us went through this. Even the toughest of the tough went through this. It is easy for people to unquestioningly rely on authorities and experts to do their thinking and decision-making for them. Under natural law, there is no authority other than God and natural law. We are all equal. And it goes back to the idea that say there was only 2 of us on Earth. Maybe we're on a deserted island and there's only 2 people. Which one has authority over the other? Neither. Maybe one uses the fact that they're big and strong and the other is small and weak physically to to gain power over the other person, but that violates natural law because we are all equal. So, but we have been lulled to sleep in this society, believing that our elected officials are the authority, or that the police are the authority. Anybody, but they, I mean, they have a gun, so they have a certain amount of authority because they can whip out their gun and shoot us if we don't comply. However, when we are in a group of people where we're making a decision where we need to have equal voice, we have been mind controlled into believing that we can rely on authorities and experts to do our thinking and decision making for us. And what do we do with that, really? You know, is then we get to blame them when things aren't going right. It's a lot easier to live life under the radar, blaming other people for negative things we don't like, than to stand up, stick our neck out, and risk being made fun of or made to feel bad or having to confront our shadow. But if we're gonna, you know, be free and take back our power, we have to start to really be empowered in a group where, in other words, so in a group, I have right of participation and right of decision, which means that I have, but I mean, with each right comes a responsibility. So I have the responsibility to participate, and I have the responsibility to make decisions without asking other people's permission. So, it is, we have to really work hard at this so that we don't just, you know, lapse into our old ways of doing things and just let other people make decisions for us that we don't really like and then blame them behind their backs. That's not freedom. That's like us just saying, fuck it, I'm just going to be a slave. I'd rather be a slave and sneak around in the back and get my way than be free. If members of a group delegate their authority intentionally or not, they fail to accept responsibility for the group's decisions. So the thing about this is, like, the people who wrote this, like, they believed in democracy. They didn't realize democracy was the seed of socialism. But here what they're saying right here is that you can't delegate your authority. And we can't delegate our authority to elected officials either. But because we live in this type of society where we believe that we have the quote unquote right to vote, and we can delegate our authority to elected officials, you know, as above, so below, we're not going to be able to get away with doing both things, talking out of both sides of our mouths. So, but the thing is we have to act against that in a group if we're going to be free, if we're going to be free individuals in a group making decisions together. If members of a group delegate their authority intentionally or not, they fail to accept responsibility for the group's decisions. I can't, under natural law, delegate my power, my responsibility, my authority, because it'll just end up biting me in the ass on the back end, where I'll feel crappy and blame other people. And that spiritual disease of blame and not taking responsibility will kill me. It will eat me alive, but I won't know what is eating me alive. Consensus promotes and depends upon self-empowerment. Anyone can express concerns. everyone seeks creative solutions and is responsible for every decision. When all are encouraged to participate, the democratic nature of the process increases. So, I'm going to do the best I can with whatever group turns up to get people to participate. But what I've found is that people generally don't want to participate. Maybe because of mind control through school or parenting or government or trauma from childhood. So what I'm basically, why I'm reiterating this self-empowerment is because I want to just put forth that we have to work on our shadow work that we need to do so that we can come into a place where we can speak up and have our concerns known. Because without our concerns, we're not going to be able to find the creative solutions that we all need. So I'm not going to pound that home anymore. I mean, that's just the fact. The fact is we all have to do that spiritual work. It's very difficult where we are willing to work things out together through conflict. The next principle is cooperation. It says, unfortunately, Western society is saturated in competition. When winning arguments becomes more important than achieving the group's goals, cooperation is difficult, if not impossible. Adversarial attitudes towards proposals or people focus attention on weakness rather than strength. An attitude of helpfulness and support builds cooperation. Cooperation is a shared responsibility in finding solutions to all concerns. Ideas offered in the spirit of cooperation help resolve conflict. The best decisions arise through an open and creative interplay of ideas. Yeah, let me just look at that last sentence for a minute, okay? The best decisions arise through an open and creative interplay of ideas. That's what we want to get to, that, where the spirit is dancing between all of us and we're just trying to find solutions. But we are so saturated in competition that sometimes people, like, we just don't realize that we just want to be right. I mean, you have to check in with yourself. I know I have to check in with myself to see if I am just wanting to be right in situations, or just wanting to be argumentative, or just wanting to be the center of attention, or just wanting, maybe there's one person that really annoys me and I just want to roll my eyes and get somebody on my side to build a case against that person. I have to check with myself and make sure that I'm not doing any of these things so that I can put the power in the highest good of all concerned for the group. Adversarial attitudes towards proposals or people focus attention on weakness rather than on strength. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I have always been a rebel. I've always had a problem with every proposal. I've always felt myself go into the defense immediately, and I have to work my way back to a new state of neutrality. I don't know if anyone else is like that, but so I've been that person who has been adversarial just for the sake of it being adversarial. And I have done my shadow work and I can now not do that. But it's up to each person through their self-empowerment, through their own inner monarchy, being the ruler of their own monarch themselves, to make sure that they're not doing that so that we can cooperate. Cooperation is a shared responsibility to find solutions to all concerns. We can find a solution to all concerns. It just takes time. And, we could think of ourselves as parents. Maybe hopefully parents aren't competing with each other, but hopefully parents in a healthy family are just both trying to work together to raise the child. And that's what we can look at our projects as our child. And we can work together as parents of that child. So I just wanted to really just reiterate even the idea that I have to develop my inner parent of myself so that I can find self-empowerment. And once I am self-empowered, I can be cooperative. But until then, I'm just basically going to be a person jumping up and down and waving my hands. When in trouble and in doubt, run in circles, scream and shout, create a diversion. That's what people who aren't aware of what they're doing or what they're feeling do. And you can just check in with your body, you know, that's where most people realize that they are storing their complaints. And so, I mean, I have to check in with myself. What I actually do is I check in with myself on a daily basis, and I ask myself in the evening, where have I been selfish? What did I want in every situation? Where was I dishonest? Where was I afraid? And I look over my day and see if I've caused harm to anyone as a result of being in selfishness, being dishonest, or being afraid. And when I do that on a daily basis over time, I can catch myself in these situations. Instead of being asleep at the wheel, I will be able to see myself. You know, it's all basically rooted in fear. I'm rooted in fear of losing what I have or not getting what I want. So I have to check in with myself. When I'm in a group of people making a consensus decision, am I afraid of losing what I have or not getting what I want? And is that fear like running me? Or can I pause and pray and trust and listen to other people and see that in time we're all going to find some equal ground? Am I on the defensive just automatically because of our society and past conditioning? So these are questions I have to ask myself, and I have to try to be self-aware, aware of my motives and aware of my agenda and aware of how I'm behaving so that I can be neutral, because neutrality is the place from which I can be of the most service to others and the group.